This is Jeremy. Welcome to Eighthworld. Good morning, everybody. This is Jeremy. Welcome to Eighthworld. It is the morning of March 15th, 2020. The last week has been pretty crazy. I think you'll all agree with me on that. Check in. Let me know where all of you are in the world listening to me. I know that the spread of the coronavirus has been different for everyone, so let's see how it's going world over. Stay safe amid the spread of this virus, and don't give in to panic. It won't serve you anything. Stop panic buying toilet paper. Seriously. Keep your senses and follow all of the issued guidelines regardless of your political affiliations. The virus, by all published accounts, is not overly dangerous to most people. Most people recover, but it is the job of everyone else to keep the elderly, the immunocompromised, and the already sick safe insofar as is within our abilities. Stop the panic buying. If you're sick but can still breathe, stay home and call your local hospital or health department, or in the United States, even your state health department for guidelines. There are also official websites set up now. Don't be foolish. This is serious, but it isn't Captain Trips from the stand. We will weather this. The vast majority of infected overcome it. Remember that. Now, I think that it should go without saying, but I imagine I'll have to include a disclaimer here that my advice is not meant to be taken as medical fact by any means. I am not a certified, licensed, educated healthcare worker, though I do work in the healthcare field, if that makes sense. If you are worried about your health, it is never an inappropriate thing to seek out help. But also recognize that panicking over what could be simple seasonal allergies or something else entirely, such as the flu, could contribute to a mass panic. So just be responsible, whatever you do. Remember that it is all of our responsibility to keep our civilization going and to not let it slide into some sort of dark age brought about by mass cancellations of public events, public gatherings. I would actually be interested to see where things go in the coming months if this endures. Hopefully, with all of these mass cancellations of schools, of universities, of concerts, and other big public gatherings, that we can stomp this out pretty quickly. We will see if that's the case. I certainly hope that it is. I don't want to see this endure any longer than it has. Remember that the best way to help the country get over this is if you are not symptomatic and you are affected by some sort of quarantine guidelines or your life is disrupted by some cancellation, just remember to stay home. Stay home and enjoy it. Enjoy your days off. Don't try to go adventuring. Don't try to get together with your friends, because even though it's not an exceptionally dangerous virus to most people, it still spreads from person to person very easily. And again, we still don't understand it fully. We don't understand everything about it, how it arose, where it came from. So just play it safe. But again, if you are ever worried, it is never wrong to seek out help and advice. Now, moving on, if you are stuck somewhere in your home, hopefully, during some sort of cancellation or quarantine, my suggestion to fill the time, regardless of what your personal tastes may be or how you like to fill your time, I would suggest reading comic books. Comic books are a great way to kill your downtime if you're quarantined, your classes are canceled, and you want to try something new or return to an old favorite. I know that comic books have been a constant comfort for me throughout the years. I was into them pretty heavily as a kid, got out of them for a while as a teenager when I thought that it wasn't cool to be into them. And then as a teenager, I believe around my junior or senior year of high school, I discovered Neil Gaiman's Sandman, and that changed my opinion. Not just because it was supposed to be some sort of groundbreaking highbrow comic, but also because that very first volume, Preludes and Nocturnes, includes popular DC characters in the story, such as a very powerful scene with the Martian Manhunter. And it went on to show me that comic books, even the superhero comics that I loved, could tell greater stories than people gave them credit for. And I want you to keep that in mind going forward. How would your favorite superheroes handle this crisis? How would they want you to act? Now, I want to share my pull list for this past week, which being as I have been pretty busy with everything that's going on, I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but it is there waiting for me on my phone. I prefer to purchase my comics digitally these days just to save room. I have, in the past, had immense numbers of paper comics just everywhere, and it is terrible, and I much prefer keeping them all easily organized in digital space. Much easier to deal with. But I still want to share my thoughts on what I purchased this past week. My pulls this week are from Marvel: The Rise of Kylo Ren #4, Darth Vader #2, X-Men #8, and Thor #4. Now, this week's issue of The Rise of Kylo Ren is the final issue in that miniseries, showing Kylo Ren's background, his final seduction by Snoke/Palpatine, actually, and also his great sin to become Kylo Ren. But it also succeeds in demonstrating that he was, in fact, seduced, fooled into what he did. Early on, it demonstrates that he is not fully in control of his actions, nor is he fully to blame for all of the great sins that follow in his wake. It is definitely worth reading, just to gain a better understanding of the character, and I feel that it's a shame that more of this background didn't make it into the films featuring the character, but we will talk about that in a future episode. Darth Vader #2, I'm looking forward to it, looking forward to how they're playing with this idea from the first issue, which, spoiler alert, apparently, in Vader's eyes at least, Padme Amidala is somehow still alive, although it's likely just one of her look-alike handmaidens who has become affiliated with the rebellion in the years since Padme's death. So I'm interested to see where that goes. So far, the Darth Vader title in its multiple incarnations in recent years at Marvel has been one of their strongest, and certainly the strongest in the Star Wars stable. X-Men #8 is looking to be another good one-off story that is still building the whole. Jonathan Hickman's run on X-Men has been fantastic so far, just as his runs on the Avengers and the Fantastic Four at Marvel were previously. I spoke a little bit about that in my last episode about Wolverine. He has definitely done some crazy things with the X-Men, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It is a bold new status quo for the line, and I am eager to see where he goes next. He is taking full advantage of characters that have not gotten the spotlight very much at all in recent years, and he is also bringing back very nearly forgotten characters. All these great characters he is bringing to the fore, and he is demonstrating a full mastery of the X-Men side of the Marvel Universe, and I have enjoyed it thoroughly so far. I'm eager to see where he goes next. Thor #4 by Donny Cates, I believe. He recently made a name for himself with his stories about the Cosmic Ghost Rider, and I believe he also had a mini-series about the Silver Surfer that was pretty well received. I like the guy from his writing. He has done an amazing job with Thanos, especially in that short-lived series, so I'm eager to see where all he goes with Thor now that he has taken over this title in the wake of Jason Aaron's run, which was great. I had some issues with the editorial heavy-handedness that I could see shining through in it at times, but overall it was an enjoyable story, and I can already see that this is going to be an enjoyable story as well. For those of you not keeping up with it, Thor is now officially King of Asgard, and he has also been made Herald of Galactus, which is crazy and an insane power upgrade for him as well. He and Galactus have teamed up to stop the end of the universe, basically. Those of you who really enjoy deep, crazy Marvel lore, Galactus is the last survivor of the previous version of the universe, and he witnessed his universe destroyed by this unknowable force, and it has come again, and he is trying to recruit help to prevent it. So he came to Thor and invested him with the power cosmic to help him accomplish that. So let's see where this goes. I am really pumped for it, especially since the last issue had a confrontation with Beta Ray Bill, who I think is a terrifically unappreciated character. Now, from Image Comics, I picked up Decorum #1, which is also a new Jonathan Hickman title. Jonathan Hickman's indie stuff has been great. I loved Pax Romana. I read that several years ago. East of West has been going strong for years now. I read a lot of it several years ago, but I am woefully behind on it and need to get caught up. But I really like Jonathan Hickman as a comics writer, and Decorum sounds like an awesome concept. It is a sci-fi story about the galaxy's most polite assassin. Great concept. I can't wait to read it. Seriously. From Dark Horse, I'm a little behind on this one. I picked up Dragon Age Blue Wraith #1. Dark Horse has done great keeping the Dragon Age storyline going in their comics. This one looks like another good entry. It focuses primarily on Fenris, a character from Dragon Age 2. He was definitely an interesting character in that game. I feel like he maybe didn't get this amount of story and screen time that he deserved. I was a little disappointed that he never put in an appearance in Dragon Age Inquisition either, but I'm definitely interested to see what is going on with the character. I do know that from a simple mention in Dragon Age Inquisition by the character of Varric that Fenris is off hunting down Tevinter slavers, and I hope that that is what this story is focused on, because I would love to watch Fenris with a giant two-handed sword cut slavers clean in half. Just saying. Sounds fun. Now, I don't have any DC comics this go around. Not to be a snob by any means, I love DC. DC I love equally with Marvel, I think. I'm not a one or the other kind of comics fan. I love superheroes generally, and I love both of those big publishers quite a bit. I just haven't been able to get into their titles as much recently, which is a shame, because I used to feel that way about Marvel. It's kind of waxed and waned over the years how I feel about the directions that these companies are going, and sometimes I feel like I'm not really the target audience anymore, which, so be it. I have my old comics to read. I don't have to constantly be catered to as the audience. That's fine. Let somebody else enjoy it, surely. But in recent months, DC just hasn't been hitting it for me, to be honest. Although I really, really enjoyed Doomsday Clock. I thought that that was a worthy successor to Watchmen, perhaps more so than the HBO television series, and it had a fantastic, powerful ending that opened up all kinds of new doors for the line. And I also recently really enjoyed Tom Taylor's Deceased. It's not just a knockoff of The Walking Dead or Marvel Zombies. It's a powerful story that stands on its own, and I was excited to see his announcement that they are going to have a second series set years after the first, where the next generation of superheroes are succeeding their predecessors. You have Damian as Batman, you have Jonathan Kent as Superman, plus, you still have some old hang-arounds like Constantine and Swamp Thing from the looks of it, so that should be really cool. I'm looking forward to that. I think that DC's non-continuity stories are oftentimes some of their strongest, because they give their writers open ball fields to play in effectively without tying them down. I'm also looking forward to Jeff Johns' Three Jokers story that has been teased for years at this point. The idea that there is not just one Joker, but there are somehow three at loose in the world. I love Jeff Johns. I have read his stuff eagerly for years, including the recent Doomsday Clock. His run on Green Lantern is the standard by which I judge all other Green Lantern stories. The ways in which he evolved the Green Lantern mythos to include the emotional spectrum and all the characters that he created or breathed new life into were outstanding. I really wish he was still on the title. No disrespect to Grant Morrison or his fans. I just really wish that there was a Sinestro series written by Jeff Johns right now, because I would be buying that up eagerly. So to reiterate, my last episode on Wolverine got some really good feedback from a few listeners, and I'm looking forward to doing more such character-focused episodes in the future. I have a couple percolating right now, and I would like more suggestions for them. If there are any character-driven episodes you would really like to see, let me know in the comments. And if it's somebody that I know about, I can easily do it. If it's somebody that I need to do some reading on, I can do that too. I love learning new things, especially about powerful fictional characters that mean something to somebody. That is one of the unspoken mission goals of this podcast, in fact, is to celebrate all of our various fictional loves. And we often invest fictional characters with ourselves and try to see those characters within ourselves during trying times. We draw strength from them, and we love them like real people. and I don't think that that is crazy at all. Seriously. Now, besides that, I have some larger episode ideas in the works for when the international coronavirus crisis has hopefully abated. Hopefully, with all of the cancellations going on around the country, that we might get this stomped out within 2 or 3 weeks and can go back to life as normal. I have ideas involving the Witcher franchise and Star Wars, so I'm really looking forward to those and others that I have in the works, so stay tuned for those. Now, to wrap up, Eighthworld is and always shall be sponsored by and partnered with Misplaced Muse Creative, a wonderful source of bookish gifts, wax goods, and hot beverages. Social media links are in the episode description. Please be sure to pay them a visit, check out their stock, and also be sure to like and favorite this episode, and be sure to follow me here on YouTube. In the months ahead, if funds and following allow it, I will also be expanding the areas in which you can listen to this, so look forward to that. Everyone, stay safe, check in with me, let me know how you're doing, and I will see you back here in 2 weeks.